streets. Usiku mwema. Usiku mwema. Usiku mwema. Lala salama. Usiku mwema. Lala salama. Yo, I'm saying good night and get some rest in Swahili. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the YouTube streets. This is your uh, Bosa 914, Westchester County, New York. Yeah. So, yeah, man, I'm on my way to going to sleep. It's been a long day. I'm tired. I can't open my eyes anymore. My eyelids are getting very, very heavy. So shout out to the chat, shout out to the YouTube streets. And, today's been a long day. It was Sunday. Today is Sunday. I watched one movie in particular that I thought was very interesting. It's about the Dolores Fuentes story. Dolores, the weather, whatever her name was. She was a lady that was living in Sacramento, California. She committed her crimes during the 80s. She was taking in boarders into her home, and she eventually ended up killing a good many of them. She ended up killing a good many of them and cashing in their social security checks. So, yeah, man. I think I've heard of her story before, but this afternoon I became intrigued. I went on Tubi and I said, let me look for me a good movie. And I wanted to watch something I have never seen before. I have never heard of, like real popular like that. You know what I mean? So I pressed on to her story, and it was showing in the movie. She was in prison. She was on her deathbed. She wasn't feeling very well. She was having coughing spells and all that. There was another inmate, a much younger woman, who was tending to, this lady. She was tending to her. She was taking care of her, looking out for her and all this other stuff. And I guess the lady just felt like talking. She just felt like talking and telling her life story before she left the world. Now, that's the way the movie went. We don't actually know what happened while this lady was incarcerated. We have no idea. I'm not going to sit here and pretend and say, yeah, I know what happened, X, Y, and Z. Because the prison I was in a few years ago, when inmates become old and sickly like that, when they become old and sickly, they usually send them to the prison infirmary and they stay there. They stay there until they have passed away. And there are inmates that tend to those that go to the infirmary. It's the inside workings of a small hospital setting in the prison. In the last few years, what they have been doing, especially in the state of South Carolina, is when you get too old or too sickly, usually they will transfer you to a nursing home facility. We've had quite a few inmates to do that in the past, and for some reason or another, they always get sent back to the penitentiary. They always get sent back, and once they get sent back, they take them to the infirmary. That's the inside little hospital setting for inmates who usually are recovering from some kind of surgery, or they are suffering from some other kind of illness, that they need to keep a close eye on the inmates, as they are in that state. You know what I mean? And that, you know, I guess dying is never easy for anyone. But if you're in prison and you get old and you get sick and you die, if the family does not come to claim the body, what usually ends up happening, uh, the state ends up burying you. So that's the reality. What's up, Just Jay? What's up? Yeah. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the YouTube streets. Yeah. Shout out to everyone that's in my chat right now. Yeah, man. I was looking at that movie this afternoon because I wanted to watch something different, and I happened to go across her particular story, and so I wanted to know, because sometimes certain people in Hollywood will make up stories. You know what I mean? But she was a real life woman. She died in 2011. She was what, 82 years old when she passed away, but she was a lifelong criminal. That's why, I don't understand how she, was able to slip through the cracks. She was a lifelong criminal. She was always in trouble. She came from a troubled past. Her parents died when she was very young. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, she was a victim of the foster care system in California. Now, I want everyone to pay attention to the patterns of certain criminals and people who have gone to prison on some big cases. Look at the people's background. Is some kind of abuse that happened in the home, or they was in foster care. We all have heard of Marilyn Monroe. We've all heard of Marilyn Monroe. Now, Marilyn Monroe grew up in the foster care system too in California. But Marilyn Monroe became a Hollywood movie star. She became an icon. You know what I mean? Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the YouTube streets. Billie Holiday. She too had a troubled childhood. She grew up. She became a very famous jazz blues singer. She was a torch singer. Shout out to Billie Holiday. Rest in power, sister. But she too ended up in prison for a short period of time. A short period of time. Shout out to the chat. Yeah, man, but I tell you, it's something serious. It is something serious. When I was looking at that movie, and the movie was just so good. I mean, there was a part in the movie where the lady had got out of prison. She found out that the dude that she was writing to, that was her pen pal, he took over ownership of her house. He put it on the market to be sold. He went into her private stash where she kept her money in her house, and he spent it on a boat. That was the down payment. And she went to the place where the dude, basically, you know, uh, I guess the question about where her money went. And the dude threatened to call her parole officer and all this other craziness. Yo, she pulled out that fucking gun. Yo, she shot him because he was going to kill her anyway. He had a gun in his desk. He pulled the gun on her. She shot him. Right between the eyes. The dude that was floating with her, she killed him too. Blew up the place and all that. Now, that's the way the movie, portrayed her. You know what I mean? You know how movies are. They'll exaggerate the story. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the YouTube streets. But when I was in prison, I think I met a few women who were old like that lady. But I don't really remember them, dying in prison like that. You know what I mean? Because a lot of them, like I said, got sent to the nursing homes. Yeah, shout out to the chat. Shout out to the YouTube streets. Hold on, let me look at this. Yeah, man. So that's the way it is. We got one person in the building. We got 5 likes. I don't really give a fuck about that. Whoever's not here, they can catch the replay. Because I'm not playing any music. I'm not showing any clips from that film. People got to actually find the film for themselves to look at the film. We got, some people have gotten in, I don't know, some difficulty, trying to show movies and stuff on their platform. I don't know what's wrong with YouTube. It'd be one day they'd be all right with you, and the next day they'd be having funny style. So I'm not really too interested. But yeah, I'm closing out this video because I want to watch me another movie before I actually drift off. So shout out to the chat, shout out to the YouTube streets. It is what it is. 914, Westchester County, New York. This is your home guy, Arabia Barbosa. And I'm out. Peace.